Hello, listeners.
Hey everyone.
Have you ever found yourself questioning your entire career path or just your life choices, basically because an old classmate got a promotion,
Oh yeah.
right? Or have you ever felt like you were just completely failing at life because, I don't know, a stranger online bought a house, like a house in a neighborhood you don't even like?
It's such a universally uncomfortable feeling, isn't it?
Hmm.
You're just looking at this glowing rectangle of glass in your hand and you see someone's curated milestone.
Yeah.
And suddenly your body just physically reacts, like your chest tightens up, you get that quiet sinking feeling in your stomach.
Oh, completely. It's almost like a panic response.
It really is, and the brain just starts aggressively cataloging every mistake you've ever made. But the most frustrating part is when your rational brain finally re-engages, like 10 minutes later.
Right, and you realize you didn't even want that stuff.
Exactly. You never wanted that corporate job.
Yeah.
You hate the modern farmhouse aesthetic anyway. Yet the psychological sting you felt, it was undeniably real.
It makes absolutely zero logical sense, but it hits us right in the nervous system. Well, if you are nodding along right now, you are in exactly the right place.
You really are.
Exactly the next 10 minutes, you will learn the psychological trap of why human beings constantly compare themselves to others.
It's a huge trap.
And more importantly, how this directly harms your language learning journey. Plus, we will break down our first crucial C1 level vocabulary word to help you perfectly articulate this uncomfortable feeling.
Making that connection to language learning is just so vital. Because, this isn't just about envying someone's new car or their fancy vacation.
No, not at all.
For the language learners tuning into this deep dive, this comparison trap is arguably the single greatest psychological roadblock to fluency. We see this pattern constantly.
We really do. Many learners feel like everyone else somehow got the instructions for English while they just totally missed the meeting.
That's the exact feeling. You open up an app and see a highly curated, perfect 5-second video of someone speaking flawless English.
Right, perfect pronunciation, no hesitation.
Exactly. And immediately you look at your own daily, messy, frustrating progress, and you feel like it's completely worthless.
It's just so demoralizing. Well, welcome to Everyday English Flow, daily English practice, natural speaking, and effortless listening flow.
So glad to be here for this one. We are delivering exactly 14 major learning points today to accelerate your C1 English mastery.
That's a lot to cover.
It is. We have 4 critical psychological insights about human comparison, 5 advanced C1 vocabulary words, and 5 natural English phrasing upgrades to make your speaking flow effortlessly.
Amazing. And hey, make sure you listen all the way through because there's a very special bonus waiting for you at the absolute end of today's deep dive.
You definitely won't want to miss that one.
But to kick things off, I have to pose a foundational question here. Why does comparison feel so much heavier and honestly more punishing today than it did in the past?
That is the core issue right there.
Because it feels like modern humans are carrying this psychological burden our grandparents just didn't have.
Well, it is widely believed that historically, humans only compared themselves to about 20 people.
Wait, really? Just 20?
Yeah, just your immediate neighbors, your coworkers, people you actually knew in your literal physical village. And here's the kicker, you saw their whole life.
Right. Not just the highlight reel.
Exactly. You saw their successes, but you also saw their crops fail. Or you heard them arguing with their spouse. It was a complete 360-degree reality.
So it was actually a fair measurement.
Yes. But now, we compare ourselves to thousands of absolute strangers on a daily basis. The scale of comparison is just completely unnatural for the human brain.
Okay, quick reminder for everyone, if you are finding value in this, please like, share, and subscribe, and do not skip ahead because in the next 15 minutes, you will learn how social algorithms are actually designed to make you feel behind.
And we'll talk about how to protect your mental space from that design. Because the scale of it all ties right into what I call the 5-second illusion.
Yes, the 5-second illusion. This is such a core analogy. Basically, we are comparing our whole messy, exhausting day to someone else's absolute best 5 seconds.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody posts the bitter argument they had right before taking that smiling vacation photo.
Or the crying in the car before the promotion dinner. I always think of it like comparing a real house to a photograph of a house in a magazine.
Oh, that's a great visual.
Right, because a real house has dirty dishes in the sink, it has squeaky floors, and dust in the corners. It's just evidence of daily struggles.
Pure reality.
But the photo has perfect sunlight, fresh flowers, and zero evidence of actual human life. You can't compare a real house to a static photo.
You really can't. And when you do, it triggers our first C1 language learning focus. We need a precise word for this pain, and the word is inadequate.
Inadequate. That's a powerful word.
It means not good enough or feeling like you are fundamentally lagging something essential. So an example sentence would be, seeing that post made me feel a little inadequate.
And we compare that with a related phrasal verb, which is measure up. When you feel inadequate, you basically feel like you do not measure up to the standards of others.
Like standing next to a giant ruler and realizing you just can't reach their mark.
Exactly. So an example for our learners would be, I constantly worry my English skills won't measure up to native speakers.
Which is such a common fear.
Yeah.
But it begs the question, why do people post these perfect highlights if it just makes everyone feel bad?
I mean, they aren't usually doing it maliciously, right?
No, rarely.
Yeah.
They're usually doing it for our second C1 language learning focus, which is validation.
Ah, validation, the fuel of the internet.
Precisely. Meaning feeling accepted, approved of, or just reassured that you are doing okay in life.
So an example sentence would be, I noticed I was scrolling just to feel some validation.
Yes. And let's upgrade this with a say it better phrasing segment. Instead of saying something basic like, I post things to feel good about myself.
Right, which sounds a bit simple. A natural C1 speaker would say, sometimes I post just to get a little validation.
I love that phrasing. Just to get a little validation. It sounds so much more mature and self-aware.
It really does. It uses that conversational softener a little, which makes it sound very natural. But hey, keep listening. In the next 15 minutes, you will learn the crucial difference between toxic comparison and motivating comparison.
And you'll learn how to actually turn jealousy into a tool for your success. But first, we have to look at the algorithmic trap.
Right, because this whole environment isn't an accident.
Not at all. As famous psychologists studying modern media have noted, the algorithm does not show us random people. It intentionally shows us people who are just slightly ahead of us.
Wait, slightly ahead? Why not show us, like, billionaires on private jets?
Because a billionaire is too far away from your reality. Your brain doesn't actually compare yourself to them. It's almost like fiction to you.
Oh, wow. That makes sense.
But someone who is slightly richer, slightly fitter, or just slightly better at English, that hooks your insecurity perfectly.
So it's literally comparison by design. It's a mirror designed to make you look slightly behind to keep you watching.
Exactly. And the pain doesn't come from the person posting. The pain lives in the gap.
The gap between their highlighted moment and the heavy reality of your own life, like your tiredness or bills or just a bad mood.
Yes. Staring into that gap brings us to our third C1 word, which is discouraged, meaning losing confidence or losing motivation.
It's that feeling of your forward momentum just dropping. So you could say that comparison left me discouraged instead of inspired.
Perfect example. And feeling discouraged often leads directly to our next phrasal verb, which is give up.
Right? Because when you are discouraged, the brain just wants to abandon the effort entirely. It wants to give up.
So let's do another say it better upgrade here. A learner might use a really dramatic sentence like, that post made me feel like giving up.
Which sounds a bit defeated, honestly. Instead, a C1 speaker would say exactly what we just practiced. That post left me feeling discouraged instead of inspired.
It precisely names the effect without surrendering to it. You remain objective.
Absolutely. Now, do not go anywhere. In the next 15 minutes, which is our final major segment, you will learn actionable strategies to curate your feed.
And we will finally reveal that special bonus we promised at the very beginning.
But before we get to the strategies, I have a pushback. Is comparison always the villain?
What do you mean?
Well, because sometimes seeing someone else succeed genuinely motivates me. Like a friend of mine started running recently, and it actually inspired me to start working out.
That is a fantastic point.
Yes.
Now, comparison is not always a bad thing. It comes down to the psychological concept of distance.
Distance, like how well you know the pussy.
Exactly. What you experienced with your friend was near comparison.
Yeah.
It feels close to your life. You saw their effort. You know they aren't a superhero, so it shows you a highly useful path.
Oh, I get it. It provides a blueprint because the variables are similar.
Right. But a stranger's curated mansion online is far comparison. It feels too far away. It doesn't offer a next step. It just highlights a massive gap and feels like a punch.
A punch in the gut, for sure. And that punch usually triggers our fourth C1 language learning focus, which is resentment.
Resentment is a tricky one. It's a quiet, bitter feeling of, why not me? It is smaller than anger, but it lasts much, much longer.
It just kind of simmers in the background. So an example sentence would be, I felt a small resentment I wasn't proud of.
Yes. And the trigger for this is often the phrasal verb get ahead. Watching others get ahead, become successful triggers this resentment.
So for our Say It Better segment, instead of saying, I feel angry when my friend does better than me, which sounds pretty harsh.
Sounds very aggressive, yeah. A natural C1 speaker says, honestly, I feel a bit of resentment when a friend gets ahead.
Using a bit of softens the sentence so beautifully, it makes it a calm observation rather than an attack.
It shows high emotional intelligence. Now, let's move into actionable strategies to protect your mental space.
Yes, we need practical tools here.
First, we have to acknowledge the impossibility of stopping. Telling a human brain to stop comparing is literally impossible advice.
Because it's hardwired into us, right?
Exactly. It's how humans figure out where they are in the world. The goal isn't to stop, but to notice who you are comparing yourself to.
Which leads perfectly to strategy 1, competing with your past self.
This is so powerful.
I love this one. You basically compare yourself to your own Tuesday from a year ago.
Because that highlights the small progress that nobody claps for, like being calmer or speaking English just a little more confidently.
Or just not giving up as quickly. No one gives you an award for that, but it's massive progress.
It really is. And looking at that progress brings us to our fifth C1 word, perspective, meaning your way of seeing or understanding something in a balanced way.
So you could say, comparing myself to last year gave me some perspective.
Let's do a say it better for this.
Yeah.
Instead of the plain phrase, comparing to my old self is better than comparing to strangers.
A C1 speaker would say, comparing myself to last year gives me a fairer perspective.
A fairer perspective. It sounds so natural and polished.
It really does. Okay, strategy 2 is what I call the quiet unfollow.
Ah, curating the feed.
Yes. If an account makes you feel small or inadequate, just quietly unfollow. No drama, no grand announcement.
People forget that their feed is their private mental space, not a moral duty.
Right. So for our final Say It Better, instead of saying dramatically, I stopped following someone because they made me feel bad.
You should say calmly, I unfollowed someone because that comparison wasn't doing me any good.
I love how that sets a healthy boundary without casting any blame. Well, we made it to the end, and as promised, here is your special bonus.
The bonus is what some call the pointing trick.
The pointing trick, right. How does that work?
When you feel a pang of comparison, pause and ask yourself what the feeling is actually pointing at. Is it pointing at a real goal you've been secretly ignoring?
Oh, like if you're jealous of someone's English, maybe it's pointed to the fact that you haven't studied all week.
Exactly. Or is it just noisy validation with your name on it? Slowing down to ask this changes comparison from a weapon into a compass.
That completely flips the script. I want to leave you with a final provocative thought today. Remember, your entire complex, beautiful life is not supposed to be measured against someone else's best 5 seconds.
Such an important reminder for everyone listening.
And to wrap up today's deep dive, here is an idiom challenge for you.
Yes, test your C1 skills. What does the famous English idiom, keeping up with the Joneses, mean? Especially when we talk about comparing our lives to others.
Write your answers in the comment section below.
We can't wait to read them.
And if you are dedicated to mastering your natural English flow, prove it to yourself. Write the phrase, I stay committed, in the comment box right now.
It's a great way to lock in your intention.
Please like, share, and subscribe to keep everyday English flow in your daily routine. See you in the next one.